Welcome to the Quest Culture Podcast, your place for all things sci-fi, fantasy, action, horror. We do pop culture as well. We're kind of all over the place. We are here today with your favorite Quest Culture podcasters, of course, Dr. Sheldon Applewhite. How you doing, Shel? What's going on?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Where are you?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, down here supporting a friend of mine. She is coming out with a book of poetry. It was published, and I flew down to celebrate her.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
And that voice you just heard was our other, one of your favorite Quest Culture podcasters, Dark the Destroyer herself, Dana Deed. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Saturday. Where are you? Where are you supposed to be right now?
You know what? I'm in somewhere fabulous, but I don't know exactly where I am, but I'm really just sitting in my little Brooklyn apartment. So
just lost.
Yeah. I don't know where I am. And now I lost my light. I don't know what's happening right now.
I mean, there's plenty of lights behind you, but I understand. It looks nice. And what do we got going on today, Dee?
We have a friend of mine who is a super duper writer producer, Jamila Daniel. Welcome, Jamila.
Thank you for having me. I'm quite flattered, quite honored.
So how's everything going? How is my favorite U.S. city treating you? Oh, she's in L.A. by the way. Sorry. Sorry, Cleveland. Sorry, New York City. Wait a minute.
Oh boy, Cleveland's about to come for you in the comments. Cleveland's coming for you in the comments real fast. You just started it already.
We done lost some viewership over you.
I'm so sorry.
Denouncing
I love LA. I just do.
LA is good. LA is good. It's, somebody said the other day that it's been like 6 months now since the fires. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, it feels like it just happened. So, everybody seems to be getting back to normal as normal as one can be after something like that. But yeah, LA's LA, you know how it is. You visited.
Did you come across a lot of the damage from the fires?
No, because a lot of that was like very far east, like in Altadena and some of the other areas names are escaping me now, but those aren't areas that I frequent. But yeah, horrible. Very scary.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, shout out to everyone, surviving that, still having to deal with it, because I heard there's a lot of insurance
a lot
of this going on with that. So yeah.
And also like a lot of urban renewal plans as a result of like all of the decimation that happened as a result of the wildfires, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge political, what storm. So
yeah. You said, can you curse?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I just want to know the ground rules because I have a bit of a
just in case some explicits happen. Yeah, that's cool.
Listen, just say whatever you speak your mind. Speak your mind. That's our mantra.
This is my first podcast, but I listen to a lot, and I always know people ask that. Can you curse on this podcast?
Yeah, cool.
But yeah.
Well, speaking of New York City and Los Angeles, that I both love, I promise I do. So you were too late, right, Brenda? I know. You can edit it out.
Cat's out of the bag.
Come on, edit it out. So you were born and raised here in New York City, correct? In Brooklyn, actually, right? You were raised in Brooklyn, or you moved to Brooklyn?
Well, I was born in, Manhattan, New York.
Manhattan.
But I grew up,
okay.
Yeah. After my parents got to Brooklyn, and I lived there, for my whole life after. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
So did you know, like, what age did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
5.
Oh.
Wow.
I mean, pretty much, 5, 6, something like that. Pretty much from the time I could read and write, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I literally was like a little kid with construction paper and writing little books, like I just love. I think my mom was, when I was very young, she worked at Random House as an editor. And so she did publishing and always read me bedtime stories. And so I think storytelling was just like really ingrained in me from a very early age. And I just kind of took to it.
Oh, wait a minute. Do you remember your first story?
The first story that I wrote?
That you wrote, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Do you still have it?
You still have it, believe it or not. In all this moving around, I had this box of stuff that I've kept, like journals and writing from college and all of that. And I found this little paper, construction book that I co-wrote with my dad when I was like, I don't know, I had to be 4 or 5. And it was about a donut who escaped a bakery. It was basically the gingerbread man, but like a donut.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
An adaptation, a recon.
And everything. It was very cute and very derivative of the gingerbread man. But yeah, that's the first story I remember like writing.
So adorable. That needs to be a children's book.
It does, right? Although I'd probably have to get the rights because it is like an adaptation, I guess. But
yeah. Okay.
For doing that, and then like I said, I just used to write, stories all the time. I watched a lot of like Charlie's Angels and Wonder Woman and syndication when I was a kid. So a lot of the books I used to write were like crime books and like,
Nice.
The bad guy with the car and the gun and all that. So, that's what I was writing at like 7 and 8.
Nice. I love it. So
did you have like your other classmates and stuff read your stuff, or did you keep it to yourself?
I probably kept it to myself, and I was an only child, so I was very much in my own world. I was very, imaginative. I used to, I was very into the arts. I grew up when my parents were together. My father's a jazz musician, and we were staying in this artist community building in Hell's Kitchen in Manhattan called Manhattan Plaza. A lot of people, artists, musicians, actors lived there. Christian Slater lived there. Giancarlo Esposito lived there. And so, I grew up in a very an environment that was very positive, leaning towards the arts. And so I danced. I went to LaGuardia High School. I was a vocal major. That's a whole nother life. So yeah, I, as an only child, I was just always creating and in my bedroom, just writing stories and, performing and yeah. So
you were meant for this. You were absolutely meant for this, right?
All I know is I just took to writing. I mean, there was a time when I thought I wanted to be like in front of the camera, and I used to like go on auditions when I was a kid, but I'm shy and I'm not really a performer. I mean, like I said,
You're shy.
Okay. It's really like you have to be a different person. Like Beyonce's not lying when she says she has to become Sasha Fierce. Like you really do have to take on another personality. And, singing is more than just hitting the notes. It's like, playing with the audience and, schmoozing and all that. And I'm not really that person. It's weird. I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm just not, I don't need a whole lot of attention. I'm not a performer. And so writing for me was a way to like express myself, but not have to like be on,
Yeah.
So I think that's why I took to it. I mean, I just didn't like performing. I would get nervous all the time when I would do open mics, and it didn't feel like my thing. And then when I started writing, it was just like, oh, I can do this. It's not easy, and I have to work at it, and it's hard, but I know I can do it. I know it's my zone. So
okay, awesome. So after high school, wherever you went to school after that, did you feel that you perfected your craft? And how was that like after you graduated and you tried to make it here in New York City? What was that experience like? Because you left to go to LA where you really prospered,
Well, LA came much later. We'll get to that. But so after high school, I went to SUNY Purchase, which is now Purchase College, another performing arts institution. In fact, a lot of kids from LaGuardia went to Purchase, and we all used to call it the 13th grade because it was basically like continuation of LaGuardia. Everybody, going to college and dancing, acting, doing art, set design, all of that. But I was just a plain old English BA major when I went there. Okay. I did do a lot of writing there. I did creative writing. I did English classes. So that's kind of where, and then I'm trying to think, it was maybe my sophomore or junior year, probably junior year, I did an internship at the Source magazine, which at the time was very cool.
It was.
That's the time when I did start sharing with people what I was doing, and people were like, oh my God, you write for the Source, that's so cool. I had my first byline, I was interviewing artists, like it was a very cool time. And so that's when I really started to be like, okay, I really like this writing thing. It wasn't creative writing, it was journalism, but it was so fun. And so I really wanted to like write for music magazines, like Vibe and The Source and all that stuff. And so I started doing that, started freelancing for a lot of different publications. And then I got a job in radio, which was essentially doing the same thing I was doing in print, but it was for radio. So I was doing segment production for radio. So I was like going to film junkets and interviewing, actors, and also covering music listening parties and all that kind of thing, and interviewing people. I interviewed like a lot of very cool people before they blew up. Like I interviewed Rihanna before she blew up. Think who else? A bunch of people, and also people who were pretty big at the time. I mean, I got to interview Beyonce, I got to interview Mariah Carey. So that was very cool, but it got a little tired because I felt like it wasn't quite feeding me creatively. So I felt like I wanted to move on to television, but I wasn't exactly sure how. So I thought I would do segment production in television. Went to grad school, got an internship at the Rachel Maddow Show. And oddly enough, it was while I was on Rachel Maddow that I realized I wanted to write for creative television.
What was it about being on Rachel Maddow that made you decide you wanted to be in creative television?
So at the time, I think it was in like 2011, and we were having all of that, the presidential campaign with Donald Trump was running for the first time. And then you had Herman Cain, and just the whole, that Republican situation of where, Herman Cain. Yeah. And just think I wanted to write a pilot about that. So it was a half-hour comedy, which was weird because that's not really my zone, but I just felt inspired to write it. But the main thing that really made me realize I wanted to write for TV was that I would do the Rachel Maddow internship like twice a week. So I think it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every Tuesday night, no matter how late I got back from Rachel Maddow, and sometimes I would leave Rachel Maddow at like midnight because the show aired at 9 and we would do things live. So we were like uploading tape, late at night, very fast paced, very high pressure. But I would always come home on Tuesday night and watch Sons of Anarchy. No matter what day I'd had
watch what?
Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
Oh.
That was
such a good show. Such a good show.
I stand for that show. You have no idea. That was the show that made me like, I want to move to LA and write for television, because I was so like, but always, even when I worked
Sons of Anarchy? That's the show that made you want to go to LA?
I know, people say that all the time. Like, that show? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. That was my jam. Like,
what was it about that show that made you say, okay, now I got to pack up. Now I got to go.
Oh, Shakespearean, and it was so cleverly written. I mean, the writing was amazing, and I rewatched it probably twice, and because it was interesting. The first time I watched it, I was just like, wasn't even in the television industry, so I just knew I loved it. Second time I watched it, I was like, had experience in the TV industry, and I was kind of like looking for why it works so well. And, it's a constant, like every episode, there's like multiple fires that all the characters have to put out. It's constant propulsion, which is like the key to good television. And so it's like, oh, that's why I liked it. Because it was like always like, what's going to happen next? It's like every act was just like on. So, and then, it had great characters. I mean, Jax Teller, Gemma Teller. I mean, Gemma was like, Katie Seagal killed that role. So yeah, I just really loved that show. And I had always also loved shows like 6 Feet Under and Oz and The Wire. And, when I was working in radio, I was miserable because it got to a point where I was like, I'm not getting paid anything. This job is boring. I'm tired of talking about Rihanna's hair color. Like, just like, it's not creatively fulfilling at all. But I was always excited about television. I loved talking about it. I loved watching it. I loved how they, figure out how they unfolded the stories. And then it's kind of started to dawn on me like, oh, maybe that's what I want to do. It never really occurred to me that like writing for television could be a thing. And so I got put in touch with a family friend, knew somebody at HBO in New York, but they were like on the business side of things, but they were kind enough to meet with me. And I remember he asked me, his name was Henry, and he asked me So do you want to be Sheila Nevins or Aaron Sorkin? Now, Sheila Nevins is, she was a producer at HBO. And then Aaron Sorkin, of course, is, you know, West Wing, all of those great shows.
Aaron Sorkin.
I want to be Aaron Sorkin. And he's like, well, then you need to move to LA. And I was like, all right, you know, because that's where at the time, like all the work was, all the rooms are in LA. So, and I was tired of being in New York. I'd lived in New York my entire life. I was sick of my little small, depressing studio apartment in Brooklyn. And so I said, yeah, I'll just go for it. And so I did, and I came out here and it was really hard. I was like the oldest assistant in Hollywood. Like I started out at Warner Brothers as a television production assistant. So I was basically working in the office, like making all the copies of like the call sheets and like booking everybody like flights, you know, for actors coming in to shoot the shows and all of that. So it was very menial work, but I was excited. It was Warner Brothers. I was making my way. And then I got a job on Peter Roth's desk, and Peter Roth is the former head of TV at Warner Brothers. So at the time, I got to spend pretty much about a year as a temp on that desk and just like see a whole development season go by. It was cool, from like pitching to upfronts to, you know, the shows getting made. So that was a really cool experience. But still.
Will you tell the audience what an upfront is?
Absolutely. So upfronts are when people in the industry go, usually it happens in New York, and they go and they watch like shows or trailers for shows that they want to have picked up to air on TV. So they watch pilots that were shot, and they decide, and the advertisers come and they all decide if they're going to air these shows or not. So you hear about things going to pilot, that doesn't necessarily going to be a show. It has to be greenlit in order to be aired as a show that you see every week or streaming.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was cool, but it was like, it was corporate. It wasn't the writer's room. That's where I wanted to be. Yeah. So I did that for a while and got to know someone in HR, let her know what I really wanted to do. And an opening came up in Julie Plec's office. And Julie Plec, of course, is the creator of Vampire Diaries and the originals. And I started as a PA, an office PA there, and really got to know, you know, how TV is made by being in the writer's room, and got to be writers and have them read my work. And that was really cool. And I was also a script coordinator there for a while, which was like the most stressful job I've ever had in LA.
What do you do as a script coordinator?
So a script coordinator basically reads the scripts for typos and story inconsistencies. It's really like this computer system you have to use to upload it and disseminate the scripts to everybody. And you've got to make sure you don't disseminate it to the wrong people, because some people aren't supposed to see things at a certain stage.
My God.
I was horrible at it. I was so horrible at it. And like, I was like, I'm just going to quit this job because I'm so stressed. And if I don't quit, they're going to fire me, because I just kept making mistakes. I'm not that side of the brain. I was like, I'll write it. You want me to write a script? I'll do that for you. But like, I just was like not a good script coordinator. So I did quit. But my boss at the time was so great. I mean, he was like, yeah, you're screwing up, but I really like you, and I'm going to give you a recommendation, and because you're a great writer. And so I quit that job and I went on unemployment, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And a few months later, because I was in the summertime, and then in like January or something, I got into the Fox program, the Fox Writers Intensive, which is a writers program that ushers in new up-and-coming writers into industry. So that was very cool. And from there, I got my first job as a television writer, being staffed on a show called Star, which is a Lee Daniel show.
Oh, yeah. You know that. Short,
but very well liked.
It was.
So, yeah. And I mean, I've been talking a lot. I know you guys don't have questions, but
no, it's all very interesting. Okay, go ahead, Sheldon. Sorry.
So we like to talk about. You talked a lot about your trajectories and how hard or difficult it was for you as like like trying to break into the business. Can you talk about it in terms of your experiences as a Black woman or as a woman like trying to get into the industry and really trying to sort of move from print to radio to writing in a television room? Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all storytelling, which is kind of like the common thread, even though it was like different forms of storytelling. I mean, even when you're doing journalism, you're telling a story. And when I would, cut my segments when I was working in radio, there was a certain sequence I had to, like, I would take an interview and chop it up and like make a story with it. So again, that's the common thread. As far as being a Black woman, I mean, I think no matter what industry you're in, you're gonna not a white male, it's going to be a different experience for you. But I've always had really, cool people that I can kind of lean on, like mentors. And I always do the best job that I can. So yeah, I mean, when you ask that question, what do you mean specifically? Like,
I mean, in terms of just being in a writer, like, for example, I watch the show Hacks, and, on Hacks, the lead character, she talks of, her character, struggles with trying to get her stories told as a young woman, and, there's a point where, they have a talk show and she wants young and diverse voices, and that's definitely very difficult. And I thought about that process in terms of like, what was your process in terms of dealing with that, being and trying to tell your story or right, that I would imagine comes from your experiences, and those experiences being also a woman and being a person of color.
Yeah. Can I just add on to that to Sheldon's point? Do you feel like the writers' tables that you've been at, do you feel that you've had experiences where it is diverse? There are young people, there are old people, there's women, there's men, there's people of every races sitting, in that room.
Absolutely. The room I'm in now is really diverse. Just what you said, young and old, Black and white. I think it's a really good mix of people. I have been in rooms where that has not been the case. And like, if I'm like one of two Black people, if not the only one. And so, yes, there have been times when I've felt like I've had to fight for, a certain storyline or fight against a certain storyline because, I'm not representative of, representing us in a good light. And you do have to fight for it in a way that's not combative, because that's the last thing that they want. So you have to, the thing that writers say is always related to story, right? So like you're saying, oh, I don't think we should do this, say, I don't think it works for the story because, or here's how the story could work better. Because otherwise you're just like that angry Black woman in the room. That's like, so yeah, definitely that has come up, but it's been a mix. I mean, the last room I was in was great. I was on Power Book 2, had an amazing showrunner, Brett Mahoney. And, it really does trickle down. I mean, Brett was so good. He was, really collaborative and wanted to hear everybody's input, and was funny. And, we had a very relaxed room. So that was really cool. It's been
that's good.
In terms of the writer's room, what should you expect when you walk in there?
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So what should you expect in terms of?
So in terms of like, let's say I'm an aspiring writer. I get the opportunity to be in a writer's room. I walk in, I'm sitting down. It's my first writer's room. What should I expect? Is it really about seniority? Is it about meritocracy? Is it about the ideas?
Yeah, it depends on the room. I mean, you should definitely come in there with at least 10 ideas, because maybe one of them is going to, and they don't have to be like fully fleshed out, like here's the episode, but like just ideas, pitches that you think, oh, it could be cool if we did this, or how about if we did that? Because some rooms, it depends on the room. Some people want to hear from you if you're a first time writer. Some want you to shut up and listen, and it is a hierarchy, and you just are there to observe and, be helpful in any way that you can, but not too much speaking. But if it is a room where they're like, yeah, we want to hear what you have to say, you better have something to say. there to contribute. And so, I mean, a lot of times, yes, you're there to learn, but you want to lean towards being there to contribute and being helpful. You know, they are not doing you a favor by, you know, having you be there. It's like you're there to be helpful. So I definitely have ideas, and it's kind of like jump rope. It's like you got to know when to come in. You know, double dutch. So yeah,
it seems like no, I see. It seems like I keep cutting you off. I don't mean to. It seems like it's a long.
It's Zoom.
Yeah, it seems like it's a long process. Like your process, it took a while, even when you decided to go to Hollywood. And I guess I'm following up on Brendan's question. It's like, what does it take to get in that room? I guess, right? Like you talked about your process, but it seems like it takes a long time. You can't just write a script and just expect to get it in that room. Like, what is that process like typically for, you know, the average person?
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm sorry, Sheldon. Sorry, everybody. So maybe if I say this, it may be a bit helpful. Last night, not helpful, but maybe, you know, last night I was going to bed. I turned the TV on and Chicago Fire was on, right? And I know you wrote for Chicago Fire. And I absolutely love the older episodes of Chicago Fire. And this episode last night was one that I've never seen. I was so surprised, like, whoa, I've never seen this. The end of it, it was you. You wrote it.
Oh my God.
Right?
That's the episode. I don't watch the show, but I will watch it.
Gosh.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
Chicago Fire has fallen off so bad. It's like, Jamila, you need to go back. But what I want to ask is, in that episode, because we're talking about season 8 of the episodes of the seasons, right? So we're talking about it's already been on for years. So you walking into that room as a new writer, these characters have already been developed. So what is it? Can you kind of explain like what you do? Like, are you able to develop this character more? Like, do you put your own spin with characters? Like, how does this whole process work? And is that helping Sheldon at all? I mean, am I kind of like on the same?
Well, I think you guys have two different questions.
It was two different. Okay, sorry about that.
I think it's an extension of my question. Like,
okay.
Like, I guess the starting point for me is like, how do you even get on Chicago Fire? Like, what is that whole how did you get? Let's ask you how you got in the room. We know your process, kind of. Yeah. So what's the typical way that somebody might get in a room like you did?
Sure. So we'll start with that because it's a great segue into Dana's question. So the answer to your question, Sheldon, is there is no typical way. You will hear that from every writer. You know, there's no way to get in. You have to kind of find your own way. I mean, there are roads that a lot of people take, but like for me, for instance, like I didn't go to film school. I don't have a degree in creative writing. And so, you know, I have a BA in English literature. So you really, I will say this to start. This is something that you have to love to do because it is so hard. And now more than ever, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard about like the strikes from 2003 and then the following, you know, contraction of the business. I mean, Dana knows, like I hadn't worked in 2 years.
Yeah, she told us, yeah.
This is someone like I have worked consistently since 2016 up until 2003, and I just did not work. So I'm someone with credits. I have experience. I have been doing really well, and I know there are showrunners who have been out of work for 2 years. So it's harder than ever to make it in this business. That being said, you have to really love writing. And not just writing, because a lot of people think, oh, I have this idea, I'll just write a script. Writing is rewriting. Like when I write a script, I know I'm going to rewrite it like anywhere from like 5 to 7 times, you know, because you have to tweak it. You have to perfect it. It's never going to be right on the first try, like unless you're like David Simon or, you know, and even David Simon has to rewrite. But yeah, it's like, you have to feel like I would do this if I never got paid to do it. I have to do it. Like throughout the, 2 years that I wasn't writing, I was constantly like, writing new pilots and, you know, researching and reading books and like just totally immersing myself in my craft because I had all this time and I wasn't getting paid, but it was like, I don't know how I don't do this, you know, like I wanted to. So that's the first thing. It really has to be the thing you absolutely want to do. And then you have to write. I mean, there's so many people that are like, yeah, I had this idea. And I'm like, okay, or I want to be a writer. Okay, well, what would be written? Well, I haven't really finished my script yet. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you have to write, and you have to have multiple samples. I would suggest if there's a show you love, write something in the vein of that show. Not so much specs. So people used to write specs. That's how you used to get into the programs. So specs is like when you write an episode of a show that already exists.
Mm-hmm.
More and more people want pilots, which are original ideas. So, you know, if you have an original idea that you want to write a pilot for, and you want to be on The Last of Us, you know, write something that's a little bit supernatural or, you know, scary. If you want to be on Grey's Anatomy, you know, write a medical drama. But most importantly, write what you want to write, like write what feels good to you, write what you're excited about. Like a lot of times when I'm on like writing a pilot for myself, like it literally feels like I'm dating somebody because I'm like, I can't wait to get home and just get to my script and just be with my script and like, you know, so it's really like that feeling. That's, you know, how much I love it. It's just, you have to really love it. And then it's a matter of getting to know people and making the right impression and letting people know you're not crazy, letting people know you have a good head on your shoulders, you know, reaching out to people in a non-invasive way and seeing if they'll have coffee and just making connections and, you know, and just, yeah, just getting your material as tight as you possibly can before you show it to somebody. Make sure there's no typos in there, you know, and just, you know, those are the ways that I would say you can try to get a foot in and make some headway into breaking in.
Thank you. Yeah. LaDana, are you going to follow up with your question? Because I'm interested in that once you're in the room, right? Like,
yes. Once you're in the room, like I said, with the Chicago Fire, it had been on for, you know, several years, and you walk in as this new writer. How does that work when you're talking about the script that you wrote for this particular episode? Like, are you able to spin something with this character that normally this person wouldn't do in this show, but you think it's a great idea? Like, would you do something like that?
There's a show Bible, right, that they follow or something like that.
What's that?
Like there's like a show Bible or something like that, right, that they follow?
Yeah, there is. You know, I mean, it is challenging to come into a show that's been on for multiple seasons because there's already a cadence and a rhythm, and, you know, not only on the show, but also in the room. It's like, depending on, you know, how much turnover with the writers, it's like those writers have been working together for like multiple years, you know. It is important though I mean, as far as like putting a new spin on characters, that's usually a no-no. Like the characters are pretty much set in their ways, and it's like, you know, if you pitch something that's like, oh, well, so-and-so wouldn't really do that, you know, then it's kind of a bad look because it's like, how well do you know the show and how well do you know the character? Part of that is if it's not a show that you already love, you absolutely have to binge that show and get the cadence of it and, you know the characters and know how they talk and what they would do. And that's your job, is to know that, because you're really, as a television writer on someone else's show, your job is to emulate the showrunner. Give the showrunner what he wants. Write the way the showrunner would want that episode written, as close as you can. Now, of course, you're not the showrunner. So, and you are supposed to bring some of yourself to it. I mean, that's why you got the job. They liked your writing. They like your experience. They like what you bring to it. But it's a balance of like emulating the showrunner and bringing your own stuff to it.
The one show comes to mind when you talk about the Bible, and what you've been talking about, Jamila, is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and like the way that like you get from the starting point to the end point. And I read an article about it, and I don't remember all the details, but Josh Whedon talked about knowing where his characters were going to go. And so what you're saying really kind of helps me to understand that a little more. It's like, okay, here's Willow. I want her to be this by this point. And they hire someone like you to help them get to that point with the cadence of that character.
Yeah. I mean, what writers are brought in to do is to kind of help move story along. And so it's like you're pitching ideas about what situations to put these characters in. And then based on who those characters are and how they would react, that's kind of how story flourishes.
Yeah. What do you think about the rewrite process, or like the recon process? Like, they're getting ready to reboot Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I was a big fan. And what are your thoughts about that? Like
X-Files.
Yeah, X-Files. There are a few shows that are going to be rebooted. We saw Charm.
You got to get on X-Files. Get on X-Files.
They rebooted Charmed. What are your thoughts about that process? Like, how do you make it consistent to the original and yet new, especially for like the audience, but also for the writers, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think to be quite honest, I think people have reboot exhaustion. The key to that, the key to rebooting things or adaptations or whatever is, what are you bringing new to it, right? Like, I just watched Forever on Netflix.
I loved it.
Right. I'm only halfway through because I just want to hold on to it.
I loved it so much. Oh my God.
So it's
that's like a good example. Because Forever was a huge book when I was in junior high. We were all reading it and all like, oh my God, it's sex. It's
You both read it?
I just remember the experience of reading that book. And so when they announced it, I was like, oh Lord, what is this going to be? But the key with stuff like that is, what are you bringing new to it? And I think Marv did a really good job of that, of like dating it with the modern stuff, the online stuff, what was the character, what was the girl's name?
Oh, I should know.
I can't think of it either.
Hold on, give me a minute. Keep talking.
Like the girl and the main girl, the whole thing that she went, like the sex scandal and the tape and all of that. Those are issues that are very current today that young people are dealing with. And so to incorporate that into the story, I thought was really good. But the crux, the base of the story, of which is these two people having their first sexual experience and falling in love, first love, that is the essence of the book. And so I think that's what you have to do when you're adapting things. It's like keeping the essence of the original material, but putting your new spin on it, and that's an opportunity, unlike the writer's room, where you should bring your own twist to it and something that's updated and worth redoing. Yeah.
So it sounds, sorry, Sheldon, go ahead.
No. The character's name was Keisha.
Oh, Keisha. Okay. So it sounds to me, I mean, maybe you agree with me that you're not really a true fan of reboots unless they bring something new to it, correct? Because is how I feel. Yes. Which kind of brings me to this part. I have fallen out of love with TV it has been quite some time, right? And when I was younger, you had a night of my shows, right? I don't say my shows anymore about anything. I just don't. I'll catch something. If somebody recommends it, I'll catch it. And I think it's because there's so many platforms. There's so many mid shows. There's so many shows that have the same formula. And sometimes that formula works, if, to your point, if you put a twist to it. But for the most part, it's like, I'm looking at something that I've seen before, but it's just actors, new actors. You know what I mean? So, and that kind of brings me to you being out of work for, a couple of years, a lot of people being out of work in this industry for years. Why do you think, do you think it's all related as far as people being out of work, as far as writing being out of work, because all they're doing is rebooting? And are they using AI more? Are there too many platforms? Are they not hiring enough people who really know what they're doing because they'd rather hire new people for less money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's the misconception about that. So the reason a lot of people are out of work right now is because streaming changed the game. Like, it really just made everything. I think they say like 2015 to 2020 was like the streaming boom, and like everybody was trying to be Netflix. And so, NBC and CBS and Amazon Prime and Hulu, like everybody was competing to be Netflix, and particularly not Hulu and Amazon and certainly not Apple, because they've got tons of money. They can sell phones. They don't care if you watch the shows or not. But like, they were all trying to be Netflix, and they kind of came up with this model that was like not financially feasible. So it was like they were just like offering these streaming platforms and not charging a lot, and there was no profit. And so when that bubble burst, they had to start cutting, saving funds. And so they cut shows. And so with less shows, there's still as many writers, but less shows to be staffed on. So there just wasn't enough, there hasn't been enough work to go around. And then the people who were working, it's showrunners who want to work with the writers they know, right? Like if you guys were doing something and you wanted to pull somebody in, you would prefer to work with somebody you've already worked with, because there's a shorthand, and like, it's a little unfair. It's like, it almost was like, well, unless you know the showrunner, you're not getting a job. I was very fortunate on this current job. The showrunners did not know me from Adam. I'm still shocked that I got this job. It feels like I won the lottery, because it's like, they didn't know me. I had to just come in cold. They read my script. They did the interview. They liked me. It was quite, but a lot of times people do hire people they've already worked with. And I get that. If I were a showrunner, I would want to work with people that I knew as well. But it makes it very hard when there's not enough jobs to go around and the same people employed over and over. What really, there's always going to be bad TV, right? Everything's not going to be for everybody. And
no, you're right.
So, but yeah, that's really, it wasn't, people say, oh, the strike caused this. That's not really true. The bubble was going to burst regardless if we went on strike or not. But I think what the strike did was it made studios and networks see, oh, we can do a lot more with less.
What's a good example of, or maybe a couple examples of a show or movie where you have seen and you're like, man, that was some great writing, like a scene or something from a couple particular programs that you're like, man, like it makes you mad when you watch it, like, man, I wish I would have wrote that, or like something like that.
So we already talked about Sons of Anarchy. I also really love Peaky Blinders. I think that's an amazing show on Netflix.
Is that good? I haven't watched that yet. I love Cillian Murphy, but I haven't seen that yet.
It's so good. It's so good. And they're fast too. Every season is like 8 and 6 episodes. So you can like blow through it in a day. But like, Top Boy. All the shows that I like are very like male driven, very heavy on the testosterone. Like I said, when I was a kid, I was watching like Charlie's Angels and like, even though they're not men, it's always like guns and crime and stuff. So I really like that. The Wire, Sopranos is another one that I rewatch, every couple of years. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, this show is brilliant. Like, it's just so well written. It's so well written that like all of like these guys are like racist Italian assholes, killers, murderers, selfish people, but I fucking love every character.
Oh, you love the writing. You love the characters. Yes. Because they're so flawed, but they're universal flaws, right?
Yeah. But flawlessly written.
So for you, what is the and for any aspiring writers out there, what's the key to a good character like that? Like, what's the key to those characters that make you like they're abominable human beings, but you're rooting for them?
Like
why is that?
Relatable.
Yeah, like Ray Donovan. Yeah.
Ray Donovan.
The thing is, like, I'm never gonna be like a mob head, and I don't, I don't have a garbage company or a strip joint, or like I can't relate to Tony Soprano on like a base level, but like if you create a character and you can strongly identify that character's want or that character's need, that makes a strong character. And so it's like, we all universally understand wanting to, provide for our family, having issues with, our mental health. I don't have issues with my mom, but like, Tony Soprano was seeing a shrink because he had issues with his mother. And it's like, that's humanized that way, it was just such an amazing concept, like a mob boss going to a therapist. Like the juxtaposition of that is so, So yeah, I think you just have to create characters that people can relate to. I mean, a lot of times executives will be like, particularly if you're creating a female character, it's like, well, she's just not likable, or he's just not likable. I'm like, Tony Soprano was not likable. Walter White was not likable. Breaking Bad was like one of the best shows. That's another of my favorite shows. It's so many people's favorite show. That character is relatable. The man has cancer. He's got to provide for his family. He's doing whatever he has to do.
But the hubris, right? The hubris was just
yes.
Was it? It's like God, the pride. It gets him every time you see it at the beginning.
That's another thing. Giving characters like unique traits that people can always identify. For Walter White, it was his hubris. For what's her name, Carrie on Homeland. She had hubris too, but in a different way. It's like there's always something about characters that people can like, even if they can't identify with it, they can relate to it and understand, that character's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What about you, Brendan? What is a real well-written show to you?
I'm going to ask you. Jamila already hit a couple already. Like I love Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad,
we've talked about Penny Dreadful.
Dreadful. Yeah, that was good.
You love Penny Dreadful too? Okay.
So good. In terms of movies though, if I can do that real quick, I think one of the scenes that pops out to me, and I don't know if you guys have seen this movie, but it's one of my favorites. I know it's super depressing, but it's called Magnolia, and it stars there's a scene where Tom Cruise is sitting there by his dad's bed while his dad is dying, and he does this monologue that breaks me every time I see it. Like every time I see it, and it's so interesting because if you watch his character like throughout the entire film, it's all this bravado and machismo that it comes out, and he's such a prick. And then for that one moment, like he's sitting there by his dad's bed and he really wants to be mad at this man. And part of him kind of is, but he kind of breaks down because he's like, man, I'm not, like, why are we like this? Like, why is this our relationship? And he's doing this like on the last night that his dad is alive. It breaks me every time I see it. I don't know why Tom Cruise didn't get some kind of award for that scene or for that film, because it was so like to watch him break down in tears. Like there's acting, and then there was like he felt that, right? And there wasn't a lot of dialogue, but there was enough that you're in the room with them, and I find it really, really skillful what they did with that particular scene. So I would say we already spoke about those other shows, but if we were going to talk about a movie, that scene itself is an example. I watch it, I'm like, man, like to be able to write like that is something else.
Jamila, you were going to say something about Magnolia as well.
No, I haven't seen Magnolia yet. I keep hearing about how it's one of the things I have a long viewing list of things that there's so much to watch. But that's one of them. I definitely want to check out Magnolia because I've always heard about it, and I know it's something I need to watch.
Yes. And it's so funny because you never hear about that Tom Cruise movie. When you talk about Tom Cruise,
side of a plane.
You like that movie, show?
I love that movie. Yeah, there was a period I was dating an actor. You know who he is, and like that was one of the movies that I saw for like he's a part of SAG, and so we would go to like the previews or whatever so that he could vote, and that was one of the movies that I saw, and I just love it. I love the soundtrack by Amy Mann, right? One of my favorites.
That soundtrack is exceptional.
Magnolia.
Okay, yeah.
Magnolia. But can I mention my
of course,
like so you guys covered most of my favorite shows, right? Like Breaking Bad, I love The Wire. I've rewatched Breaking Bad twice, and the second time I watched it was like hubris. You start seeing it at the beginning, like he's so prideful. I love The Wire. I was born in Baltimore and lived in Baltimore, whatever. Loved it. I know the Baltimore before The Wire or before so I love that. I love Ray Donovan. It was just one of my favorite shows. Lee Schreiber and the character development in him. I mean, he's a guy that I was like, oh, like in his movies, I'm like, he's so gross. But like watching the show, I don't know. I just kind of fell for him. Like just,
yeah.
That's how he was so captivating as an actor. I love Homeland. I love everything that she does. The lead for, why can't I think of her name? Claire Danes. I love everything Claire Danes.
That's right. You're such a Claire Danes fan.
But Homeland was just like, I love spy films, and she is the ultimate spy. Especially, it's just so timely in terms of like after 9/11, and that's what her whole purpose is. But my favorite scene from a film, and then I'll be done, is a blockbuster for me. It's a powerhouse of actors. It's Doubt, and it's that one scene in Doubt with Viola Davis where Meryl Streep is trying to co-opt Viola Davis, the mother of this one black kid who's attending this Catholic school. Phillip Seymour Hoffman is the priest, and he's the one being accused of assault against this little boy. And it's not, I don't know if it was the first time I saw Viola Davis, but it was the first time I noticed her. She had the scene with Meryl Streep for about 6 minutes, but the scene was devastating. And she got nominated for an Oscar for that 6-minute scene that she did.
Yeah.
And I was like, this woman is a star. Like, she was so, the anguish that she had.
What's her name again? What's her name?
Viola Davis.
Oh, I never heard of her as a star. I'm joking.
Viola Davis. I was like,
you said she's a star.
You got me for a minute. I was like,
she's a star.
Right? Like this, I think that was her first Oscar nomination. She's only in a movie for 6 minutes, but like the anguish that she has in her heart to protect her son from the homophobic violence of his father. But she sends him to the school, right, so that he can be protected in some way, and in turn be violated by a predator, right, potentially, who is Phillip Seymour Hoffman. Just like a heartbreaking scene.
Yeah, no, you can never go wrong, Viola. So
you can, right?
Right.
Phillip Seymour Hoffman was in Magnolia too.
An incredible, incredible,
and he was so good. He's in that scene with Tom Cruise. It's great.
You're gonna make me watch Magnolia again because I haven't watched it in 100 years. And that, me, I don't do a lot of rewatches, but I think I want to go back.
It's so good. It's so good. You said, Jamila, that you would never, or you're not interested in like the Marvel movies and that sort of thing. It's all right. It's all right. Is there
it's not all right.
If DC or Marvel called you up and was like, hey, we got an option for you to be in a writing room for this particular project, for let's say for Ironheart, the movie that's coming out, or for something like that, you would jump on that, right?
I would. I mean, I've interviewed at Marvel before, actually, didn't get the job, but there are superhero shows that I like. I'm just not a huge like running to go see, what's the new one that's out?
Thunderbolts.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm not running to see that, when the Marvel, every time a Marvel movie comes out, it's like this mass hysteria. And I'm just like,
I get it.
I get it. But I do like stuff like, Watchmen, like when that was on HBO with Regina King, I thought that was really cool, so differently done. I like anything that's like action and fight scenes. So like, I was into Daredevil. I want to check out Punisher because I love John Barenthal.
He's great.
So it's not like I'm just totally anti and have no interest whatsoever. I'm just not a huge fan like that. But
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
What about, have you watched any of Andor?
I have not watched Andor. I keep hearing that I should. I just feel like people keep saying that you should watch these shows, but then they say that they're not that great. And it's like, well, of course they're not. Nothing can touch the original Star Wars. Like,
right. But I'll say this. My one of my favorite Star Wars movies is Rogue One, right? And Andor is a prequel to Rogue One. And true to that film, Rogue One, Andor is also well written, character driven. It's Star Wars only kind of because it takes place in that universe, but it's very, very adult and very well written. That's why I was suggesting that maybe you might want to watch a couple.
That's one. It should be on my list, my watch list, because I keep, people keep saying I should check it out. So I will definitely at least watch the pilot and see where we go from there. But and who created Andor? I forget his name, but it's someone that I like.
Tony Gilroy.
Yes, Tony Gilroy, who did one of my favorite movies, Michael Clayton. Good God, love that movie.
Oh wow, okay.
Michael Clayton.
Tony.
Why do I know
Michael
that? Who's in there?
That's with George Clooney. It's an older movie. It's probably like 10 years old, but he plays a fixer, and they go up against this company that's poisoning the community. But really great thriller.
So we are running, of course, out of time. This is we never have enough. But I know, like, if you guys have any other questions you want to ask real quick before we wrap, please do, because we never have enough time, and I know there's going to be comments. So anything, Darjak, Professor?
No, you know what? I didn't get to mention my favorite show.
Go ahead.
Yeah. After what you guys said, my show is going to be silly, but I don't care. Supernatural for me. Supernatural. And you know why? Supernatural, I was not on the bandwagon when it first came out because I was not a WB or CW, whatever that whole thing. I didn't watch Buffy. Sorry, Sheldon. I didn't watch Gilmore. That was not me. So I jumped on the Supernatural bandwagon very late. I think when it was like a TNT thing. I think I was out of work and it was coming on from 11 to 4 p.m. and I watched it and I got hooked. And I think what did it for me was how they, how this was about the Bible, but how it was the whole Revelations thing, and how Eric Kripke really made these characters come alive, and I just love the combination of it being about Revelations and about the love that these two brothers have for each other, and just bringing all that to life. You know what I mean? So
wow,
I can watch it over and over again. The first 7 years, I would say. After that, it really needed to go off the air. Even he left. I think he left.
I get shocked how long it's been on
15 years.
television.
It should have ended like after 7 years or something like that. But
yeah, I get shocked how long.
There's no way that show should have been on for 15 years.
That and Vampire Diaries. I'm
Say
shocked.
that again?
Yeah, that and Vampire Diaries. I'm shocked how long they've been on television.
Yeah, right. And now they're talking about rebooting it. I'm like, and the ending was so terrible. It ended so.
You watch it too. You watch it as well. Supernatural.
Yeah, I'm like Dana. I got onto it late because I'm just one of those idiots. Like if a lot of people are watching something, I'm like, nope, not watching it. And then I'll happen to watch an episode, and then I'll be like, oh my God, why haven't I watched this? But it works out even better because then I can binge the whole thing. You know what was like that?
Yeah.
What was like that? Breaking Bad was like
Breaking Bad.
Everybody was talking about Breaking Bad. And I was like, I will not watch this show.
I came late. Yep.
And then I started watching it and I couldn't help it. And the same thing for Sons of Anarchy. I filled to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. See, now you guys are wanting me to watch Son of Anarchy.
Yeah,
I never watched it.
I'm gonna watch it now. It's an FX show.
So good.
It's an FX show, and those shows usually.
There's a lot of shows that for me, like Boardwalk Empire was another really.
Oh my God. That show is so
that's
good.
One I didn't watch as well. That's another one.
This before, like it's so good. Yeah.
Great stuff. All right. We're gonna have to. I mean, if you would like to, we'd love to have you back because there's more questions we're gonna have. I got a question. Is there a movie coming up that you're looking forward to seeing? Is there a movie coming up this summer?
There's a couple of horror movies. I do like horror. I will go for horror more than
Me too.
Yay!
Me too.
and superheroes. And I am looking forward to the new 28 Days Later. I can't remember the title.
July, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love those movies.
Yeah. So I want to see that.
Cool. Well,
Thank you guys for
Jamila,
joining me
so much. This has been so much fun.
yes. Thank you for doing this with us. We're gonna do it again. Please let everybody know where they can find you. Socials or
you can't really find me. I'm not on socials right now.
Good for you.
Needs to
Where
focus.
can you find your shows?
Maybe next time when I come on, I'll be back on socials.
Excellent.
Where can they watch your writing though?
Oh,
Yes.
like some shows that I've been on. Star, Chicago Fire, Equalizer, Black Lightning, and Power Book 2. Yes, see, I do have a little bit of that in me.
You said you got Black Lightning. I'm like, wait a minute.
Love with that.
Wait, which episode of Black Lightning? Or was there a bunch?
No, I just wrote one episode on the final season. It was, I believe, and I don't know why I know this. It's called Book of Reunification.
I'm pretty sure I
That's
saw
the-
it.
I'm pretty sure I saw that. Yeah. I'm gonna rewatch it now.
All right, cool.
Jamila, thank you so much. Deep Darjak and Professor, let people know where to find you guys.
You can find me on Instagram at Dana Deet.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at Dr. S. Applewhite and on IG at Sheldon Applewhite.
Excellent. And
you,
I'm Brendan Hamilton on all socials, Be Music Maker on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always a lot of fun, and we cannot wait for the next one. Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.